morning, ladies and gentlemen. First quarter of OPEX Bowl, February 2024. Oh, it was good. It was good. But today, we're going into the second quarter, and we're going in with the U.S. Consumer Price Index report coming out an hour, 60 minutes prior to the opening bell today. CPI year over year. Been fluctuating, been getting up, been getting down, been missing, been hitting, been beating, but for the most part, since September, we've continued to miss. Go over on to the month over month. Month over month, again, same thing. Coming in line, coming in better than in line back in November where we got that big pop. In line, a little bit of a miss back over there in September. Then you come over here to the oh, my bad. That was your core. I forgot. I was going to go with that next. So, problems up here in the video booth. The month over month was where I thought I was going. Where had we gone over here month over month, we are missing. Missing in January. Missing in December. Beating in November where we had that big pop. Missing it over there in October and coming in line way back in September. Core was where I was going with. Core inflation, core, which does not take into account food and energy because those things don't matter to you. The only thing that matters to you is goods and services. And yes, that has been coming in line. So here we go, because yesterday was a barn breaker. Actually, we're going to start off with the charts real quick. Actually, no, we're not. We're going to start over here with the meat and potatoes, which is QQQ. And QQQ, for the first time in a month, the entire month of February, gapped down prior to the opening bell. Could it be? Could it be that we have an injury with the star player? It's too early to tell. It's only the first quarter, but definitely looking as if something might be shaky over there. A gap down, a little bit something to be concerned about. Over here, check this out. This is really, really cool. Really cool, okay? On the spreadsheet, because we did have a new all-time high placed yesterday, the way I've built my calculations going around with all of my retracements at 439.14, all I do is change that number here. Ready? Enter. And all of my numbers change. Everything changes. I'm like the coolest geek that was ever made. So bring it on over here before we go. Actually, no, I'm going to finish off with that. Because yesterday, as we got started, 9:30 in the morning, going into 10:15, we had gone nowhere. Actually, even over here into 10:30, actually 1 hour as we just came to that high. We're trading there in that little tiny 3-point range, 4-point range. And then Marino to Duper.
Shotgun. Marino throwing and completing. That's Mark Duper. Duper breaking away, makes a fine play, and he's got a first down and a lot more.
And he got right there to the 50-yard line, almost getting across the 50 to the other side on the opposing team. The Bears looked as if time to buckle up, Buttercup, because 50-48 is here. Might have been mentioned once or twice in the chat room, but I would need to go back there and check because that was a whole 18 hours ago. But coming over onto the spreads, which is where I wanted to go with, 50-54 being the safe edge. Forget about the lower edge because the lower edge just doesn't get tested. 50-48 being there. We threw it out quite a few times. The safe trade, which got up to $1.50. The 50-65, 50-55 spread. But that 50-35, 50-30 risk spread just sat there at $4. Just sat there and sat there and sat there. And with the close below 50-30, you had an opportunity, not necessarily a requirement, but you had an opportunity for a 400% credit spread. First time we have had a 400% credit spread since back here on December 6th. which we had one prior to that back on November 29th. So with 400% being able to be taken top to bottom, a grandmother could go in there with her stroller and go out there and get her 50 cents, her dollar. So I'll leave you with that as we come on here to CPI. CPI back over here again, January 11th, December 12th, November 14th. Go through every CPI you want. I'm only tracking month over month. Miss, beat, miss, in line, beat, as we were going down through 2023. But as you look over here on the gaps and the ranges, Bears, you're going to have an issue today because I know you're celebrating. I know you were celebrating because yesterday, after having that run up to 50.48, and then you sat there and you trolled around it for the better part of an hour, going in here into 12, 12.15, 12.12, and then they had to call out the refrigerator.
It's kind of almost a toss to him because I got tired of getting my arm yanked out of sock.
First and goal from the 1 yard line, hand off to the bridge.
And yeah, Refrigerator Perry came in and he scared everybody. And right there, right at 1:20, 1:19 in the afternoon on that last touch at 50.48, Refrigerator Perry bowled in to get that touchdown, making the score 46-10 on the board for the Chicago Bears and the Patriots back in 1985. However, the score over here on the U.S. is fractional. The S&P wound up closing down almost 5 points below the open, almost 5 points below the prior close, only able to muster up a 31-point range. And once again, we are pushing our range into oblivion where you could touch both sides of this with a toothpick. It's that tight. 25.6 is now our range. CPI will be out later today, so I will leave you here with the charts since everybody thinks that my color commentating on sports is make up whatever fucking objective you want. The IWM breaking up here and going green on the year. Green on the year for the first time since the first few minutes of the year. And yes, got into that 32 trade for March 1st. A break below 199, a break below 198, more importantly 199. And we could be looking at that 195 area. And if 195 should happen to go, your 99 bottles of beer on the wall are waiting for you down in the 188, 187 range, with the bigger, broader, wider view being everything above the Joe Biden win / COVID cure of 2020 over there at 181.73 is all bullshit. Watch that 181.73, even though I'm sure there are a lot of inverted head and shoulder breakout imminent coming. Pay attention to it. Come over here onto the ES, and your futures are down on the lows right now as we are approaching 5 a.m. Down an incredible 40 points from yesterday's topping out. We just might see some bankruptcy filings today at this point. And leave you over here with the QQQ before we go on to the other charts, because the QQQ, having gotten to that 438.38, beat it. And that QQQ spread as well, closing well below the lower strike for full credit. QQQ is now into this gap. It is into the gap, which, pretty or ugly, every gap is going to get filled, whether you like it or not. QQQ holding here at 433, 431.61 being your big one. And before we can even start talking about 425 and this gap back here at 429, 427, let's deal with the 430s, okay? Because your 430s have been here for 5 days now. We've been in the 430s. We've reached up there early in the month of the 430s. 430s are here. until you get a close below 430, just shut your trap hole, pay attention to what's going on, because there's a very good chance that if you do get below 430, you're probably going to be oversold. So as we come over and move on to the next charts, and we've got the VIX. And how was it, Tim, that you were able to be pretty confident that we would get a ride down yesterday? Well, that's because I'm sitting here watching the VIX, and as the S&P is climbing up there to 50.48, the VIX is saying, you're smoking a little bit too crack over there, buddy. And that crack smoking caught up to them. 1387 where we hit, and that's where I was saying, you might want to go ahead and take your call, your puts positions off, because we probably wrote it all off. And here we are now, going into CPI at that big 1410. That big 1410. Look at this 1410. 1410 right here. This is the Dan Marino, Mark Duper line right here, where you can get that pass, you can get across it, but if you can't stay above that 1410, you might as well just retire. Just go back to the OTC, trade penny stocks. 1410 CPI. It's going to be a nail biter. Come over onto the SPY, and again, having to adjust because that's what you do. Looking at this as being a 1-2, fractional almost 3, call it an ABC, call it whatever you want. The move point being is the high over here on this move, going back to February 2nd, is 496.05. So without a move below 496.05, I don't really see you having anything to get up and start screaming and cheering about. However, I will pull this up because I'm getting an update right now, getting an update through the headset, an update saying Apple has just moved down below 187. Apple trading down here at 186, making a push back on that 185. Apple is again red on the year of 2024. Unbelievable what is taking place here today. And we're only in the second quarter of the OPEX Bowl. So leave you off here with SPY 503.50, down here below 500. It could very be time to start prepping. The end of the world could be imminent. And the reason why I say it is because I've got your picture of me and you. You wrote, I love you. I wrote, me too. I sit there staring, and there's nothing else to do. Oh, it's in color. Your hair is brown. Your eyes are hazel, and it's soft as clouds. I often kiss you when there's no one else around. And that's right, because we've got the Nikkei. The Nikkei pushing all-time highs. Get ready, people. OPEX Bowl, quarter 2, second quarter of the game today, and it all starts right after CPI.